Hello. Good morning. How's it going? I'm gonna light some Paulo. I'm waiting for you guys to join. Hello. Good morning. Just taking a moment to light a stick. Hi, Michelle. Good morning, darling. How are you? Hi, Adriana. Hi, Chantal. Hi, Tammy. Good morning. Hi, Anya. How is everyone? David. Good morning, darling. You have a migraine, Michelle. Have you tried Sarah's hat trick yet? Drink some water, ground yourself, get some fresh air. And if it still doesn't go away, then perhaps a hat will help. We've been getting some intense solar flares, which reminds me, I'm going to actually check them really quick. Let's see what the Schumann's been doing overnight. This Palo smells different. This is a different kind somebody gave me. It smells funny. And it feels lighter, too. Anybody notice Palos are different? I have another set that I got directly from Peru. Let me compare these. Yeah, they do feel different. So you got to be careful not to get fakes. A lot of these woods are actually like this one feels a lot lighter and has a different smell to it when it burns. Makes you wonder. There's a lot of fake woods out there too where they dip it in like Palo Santo resin. I wonder if that's why this smells different. I have so many different types of smudge sticks here. It's unbelievable. I have about 20 different kinds. I'm not even kidding. I collect them everywhere. I think this is the one I got at the Renaissance Fair, funnily enough. Good morning, everyone. Tammy says peppermint essential oil is great for headaches. Yes, I have a migraine roller thing that's got peppermint oil in it. I forgot about that. Peppermint oil is a good one. Yeah, let's see the Schumann. What's been going on with the Schumann? Oh, yeah, we did get a little bit of a burst. See right there? Or is it working? There we go. Now you can see better. And it makes you wonder, like, what has been going on? Oh, wow. Look at the Geomag. Geomag is spiking right now. Stellar flares were acting up yesterday. Yeah, same. Quite a bit of activity. Look at all that yellow. Interesting. My Palo Santo has veins in it. Those don't look veiny. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I think there's something different about this. This is why you really have to be careful about where you ethically source your stuff. I think that should be good. So how is everyone? We were going to have Jacqueline join us, but she's having tech issues today. Are you able to join us, Daniela, instead, or are we just going to postpone that till Monday? Let me know. You're welcome to join instead if you're able. Talitha says, I've had a headache for the last 2 days. That is one of the most common side effects, I think, of these crazy energy shifts is that we get headaches. Make sure that you ground yourselves because you're pulling in a lot of energy. So if you're not grounding, then that energy has nowhere to go. You're like a big antenna, a lightning rod. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Lynn said, I tried to join Jacqueline this morning but couldn't connect. I think she's been having some tech issues. Keep in mind that Mercury retrograde just started. So Mercury retrograde is going to be starting some shit. as it always does. Hi, Patrick. Nice to see you, bud. Listening to the Stargate movie soundtrack. Nice. You've got good taste. Krista says emotions are very stirred up on my partner's side. Everything seems to be attacking him. Let's send him some love. I'm happy to do that. In fact, I'll send him a Reiki ball. I don't even know his name, but I can send it through my intention to send through you, Krista. So you just build a ball in your hands. You can visualize it filled with love, of light, of healing, whatever you want to send to this person, and then you just send it to them. It's easy. Tucker, good to know. Thank you. That was sent right to Tucker. In fact, I'll send him another one. Because we all go through hard times like this, you know, and especially, I hate to say it, but the men. Not saying all of men, obviously. Some of you are doing very, very well, but there's a lot of men out there that are having a hard time right now with the shift, with all these changing energies and all the business that's out there right now. I've been doing a lot of clearings on men. You know, one of the cutest things, though, one of the nice things that I find in reports, sometimes you find nice things. And this last week, I found 2 babies. I have found 2 babies following around their future parents because I tuned into one person and they had a child with them. And I was like, that's strange. I wonder why they have the child with them. Is it an earthbound? And they're like, no, it's not an earthbound. And I was like, what is it then? A pre-bound? Like, what is like, what is it? And they're like, yeah, actually it kind of is. It's a baby waiting to be born. I was like, oh, really? That is so cute. And then the other day, somebody asked me to clear someone else. And funnily enough, we picked up it. I should have looked at the age, right? The date of birth, because we were doing a family clearing and I didn't look at the date of birth. We didn't need it because we tuned into the client immediately. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So we found like all these like childlike things. They're like, oh, he likes to be picked up. He likes to loves trains and planes and this and that. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely a child, like as I'm writing the report. And then I find out later on, they're like, no, this guy's almost 30. Like, what's going on here? This is obviously a report for a child. So I tuned in with the client again because the same medium and I, we go under to try and figure out what happened. The client was cloaked by an entity. Remember how they do the wetsuit trick? Right? So you can't find the person you're remote scanning for. Well, they did that to him. So the only thing we could pick up was the child that was following him around. So we actually, like, that's why I was like, this is the cleanest report I've ever seen in my life. Like, the child had nothing attached to them. And I was like, wow, this is just clearly a very well-protected baby. Nope. It was not. It was a baby that had not been born yet, that was following around his dad before his dad had him. And so when we went to scan for the dad was invisible because he was wearing that damn wetsuit. But the child, we picked up immediately. In fact, we were almost like, what the heck? Where is he? Like, we couldn't find him for the first, 20 minutes. And I first assumed, I was like, maybe it's like a disassociation or something. Like, my first thought was, oh, it's got to be a disassociation if it's following him around. But it wasn't. No, it was a baby that was waiting to be born. They said it's going to be a mini-me. It's going to look just like him because he already looks just like him. And I was like, oh, like, that's so cute. So yeah, these things, they really are part of the plan. I was told that before, that children do kind of tend to follow you around for a while. Dolores discovered that through her hypnosis, is that children tend to follow their parents around for days, weeks, or even months before they're born. Or I should say before they're, made. Or I should say before their physical bodies are made, technically. Men are having a hard time because they're told men don't cry. Don't be and cry. Yes, exactly right. That's another one. Telling them to bury down their emotions. And that's why so many men kind of, it's like it unleashes after a while. It's like a pressure cooker. They've been pushing all that shit down for so long. When they can't push it down anymore, it just goes crazy. Yep. We've all been like that, though. It's not just men. We all go through that. It's just, I think that right now for them it's a little bit harder because they don't have reasons to understand why they feel the way they feel. They don't understand why they're going through what they're going through. There's a lot of people like that who are struggling because of this shift. They did say the energies, the new crazy things are going to get crazy. So I think it's the energies that are affecting it. Hunter says I tuned into my kids on the second date I had with my husband, and that's how I knew. Wow, Hunter. Imagine telling that a guy on a second date. Be like, oh, by the way, we're destined to have children. It's really funny. When Aiden was born, I actually knew within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes. It was actually my birthday. I flew back to South Africa just for my birthday and to hang out a little bit early because a friend was supposed to meet me a few weeks later. And I was like, I'm going back early. I miss South Africa. So I changed my flight and I actually went back early so I could spend my birthday in the bush. And I met up with Aiden's dad. We hung out 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes later, I knew. And I thought I was batshit crazy. I'm like, girl, you just turned 30 today. It's just happening to be Mother's Day. Like, you're crazy. There's no way you know that you're pregnant within 5 minutes. Oh, I was. I knew I was pregnant within 5 minutes and then it was a boy. And sure enough, I got my little pod baby now. So Heidi says, yes, my son says he remembers watching me before he was born. Aiden told me he picked me. That he picked me to be his mommy. I was like, oh, thank you. But they really do. All of our children have to choose us as parents. And the funny thing is, the parents also have to consent as well to the relationship. The child just can't be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, that one. You have to have that as part of your plan. Oh, thank you, Wade. Nice to see you, by the way. So I got some interesting new books that I wanted to share with you guys. This morning we had a discussion. In fact, I'm going to message these men. I can't speak today. I'm going to mention these two. I have not read them yet. I have no idea if they're good. But I got two new authors that I wanted to get into. One is a man named George Swimmer. So I've been looking for more books about Earthbounds because I'm writing this new protocol. That's what's taking me so long with the Lost Soul Rescue, is I'm actually in the middle of writing a whole new protocol just for dealing with Earthbounds and clearing spaces. So I wanted to make sure that my protocol isn't missing anything. And so I've been picking up some extra books. This is a new one I got. This one is called Earthbound Spirits Are Attached to You and How You Can Remove Them by George Swimmer, PhD. So this is on Amazon. It was only like $12. And it's big print. Like, it's a very quick read. I just got it yesterday, so I have not been able to look into it yet. But yeah, George Swimmer is also a psychic medium. He was a doctor. He was doing very similar work to Dr. Palmer, because if you look at chapter 3, an attached spirit family is uncovered in a schizophrenic. So a whole family was attached to a schizophrenic. These are all case studies that he's got in here. So I don't know if you guys are interested. That's a new book I've got. George Swimmer also wrote a couple other books, 2 of which are about Mu. And I've been trying to learn about. Mu is also the other name for Lemuria. So he's got 2 other books that he wrote. This one's called Mu, the First Great Civilization, and its connection to Peru, the Hopi, and New Mexico. So it's not a very thick book, but it's interesting. Makes me feel better seeing that somebody has a published book that's only, how many pages? 56 pages. I'm like, oh, I'm at 400 right now. My book's only just started. I'm like, well, maybe I should make it smaller. So yeah. There you go. We got the George Swimmer book. Heidi said, so did my son. He says we were neighbors on our last planet, and he decided to come to Earth with me. That's beautiful, Heidi. Love that. Aaron says, I've been experiencing phantom pregnancy kicks still. Over the weekend, I thought my other timeline was in labor, but woke up with more kicks. That's really interesting. You could be tuning into some other timeline. Entirely possible. But it also makes you wonder, like, phantom pains and things that happen when you lose a limb. Like, is there, like, is that something similar to that? I did a reading where a lady had a miscarriage and their child told her she could be coming back as a grandchild. Oh, that's beautiful. I've told you guys this story before, but there's guaranteed to be at least one person who hasn't heard it before. But one of my favorite hypnosis sessions was with this one lady who she had like 4 miscarriages. It was devastating to her. She thought she would never be able to have children. And it broke her heart. She tried like so often with her first husband, and it actually ended up splitting them up. Like they ended up breaking up over all of the trauma of losing that many children. And so she ended up being single for a while. Then she met this lovely guy, and they were together like it was a very fast relationship. And he had two daughters from a previous relationship, who were very young. The mother was not in the picture. She just didn't want anything to do with them, unfortunately, which is pretty sad. So when she met this family, she ended up falling for the husband and ended up, marrying into the family and adopting the 2 girls as her own. And like 2-3 years later is when she went to book the hypnosis session. And so she came to one of my favorite hypnotists. I don't want to say who it was, but she came to her for a session, and she asked, am I ever going to have children? And she's been wanting to know, like, I really want to have children of my own. Like, I love my 2 adopted daughters, but these, I really, really want to have a baby with my new husband. And so she went under hypnosis and asked the higher self if this is possible. Get this, right? So the 2 children that she has now, the 2 adopted children that she has from her husband's first relationship, are actually the same 2 children that tried to come in twice before. She had 4 miscarriages. Both babies tried to come in twice. And when they failed to come in because there were issues with her womb and they wouldn't actually be able to carry the children to full term, they ended up going to this other husband, to going to her future husband, and choosing a different mother, knowing that they would be on a different, they would be raised by the same woman. So it's almost like they were like, okay, well, obviously this isn't going to work, so I'm going to try this instead. And so their birth mother was actually meant to step out of the way. She played her role that she was supposed to play. So it was kind of like a surrogacy. And it just goes to show that spirit doesn't give up very easily. If those babies want to come through, they will find a way. They will absolutely find a way. And so it's like, these things, they do happen. And I have found children attached to mothers already, miscarriage. They're in spirit waiting for for their opportunity. So it's not even really a clearing. They're visiting from spirit, I should say. So they're waiting for their opportunity. And so that's why, like I said, twice this week now, I found a baby that's waiting for their opportunity to be born, waiting for their perfect moment, which is really cute. You don't think about the fact that you can actually see them when you tune into somebody. So Hunter says, have you ever read the Sophia Code? It's all about sovereignty. I think you'd like it. It's funny. You are the second person to recommend that book to me this week. Aaron was the first. Did you get that from Aaron? Because I do need to buy that book. That's on my list. I've been buying so many books, though. As you can see, I've got 4 that arrived yesterday. Jessica says, for the longest time, I always believed I could be punished for a termination when I was younger. I've learned it was not meant to be at that moment, and I had to learn a tough way. Yes, absolutely. These things do happen. We blame ourselves for everything, especially things that we can't control. I don't know why we do that. But everything unfolds as it's meant to, as they say. And so there's another book I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. So David's book about Lemuria, right? Of Mu, I should say. David Schwimmer. And then he's got another book that I wanted to mention, Healing Secrets of the Shamans of Mu, The Empire of the Sun, by David Schwimmer. He channels these. He's a medium, like I said. He was a theater director, a college professor, a metaphysical investigator, and he's a medium and a shaman. And he goes into what he believes to be 100,000 years worth of shamanism. So it's a really interesting book. Like I said, if you guys want to check it out, Healing Secrets of the Shamans of Mu, Empire of the Sun. You'll find it on YouTube. Amazon. Margaret says, I had 2 miscarriages back to back and then twins. Always makes me wonder. I bet you that's not not a coincidence. A lot of times they do wait for it's if the moment wasn't right the first time, they come back later. If the situation with the body, sometimes that like I said, with that lady, it was her womb that was the issue. So they were like, all right, guess we'll have to find a different way in. And they did. Nice to see you, Jen. Jackie says, wow, it's mad you're talking about this today. I wanted to share with you all that I'm 28 weeks pregnant. Wow, congratulations. I had a DMT experience years ago where I saw a girl I knew was to be my daughter. That's beautiful. Wow, congratulations, honey. It's very exciting. Olivia just said, I just started reading The Madonna Secret by Sophie Strand that Aaron recommended. It's about 600 pages. It's such a good read that I'm moving through it quickly. Nice one, Olivia. The Madonna Secret. Interesting. I love that we got all these new books. Hi, Rachel. David says, speaking of the last soul rescue group, or lost, excuse me, I go bike riding through a very wooded area that has lots of fossils and Indian burial grounds. For the last month, I've been communicating with a soul that has been stuck in that area. At first, he told me he was a bike rider, but after speaking with him over a month, he told me that he actually made that part up and he's actually been in that area since before the last flood. He said that he passed by drowning in that area, although he's not quite sure how. Like a flash flood? Interesting. Huh. Reminds me, one of you guys might have noticed my friend Randall was in the comments yesterday in the Lost Soul Rescue group, Randall Smith. If you guys check out Randall's if you go on YouTube and you check out, if you search Randall Smith Medium, there was a talk that he gave about what he finds, because he clears spaces, he clears areas like what you were just talking about, David. And he's found everything from people, Native Americans that have died. He's found colonial settlers that have died. He's found Confederate soldiers, you name it. So there's all kinds of spirits that live in the woods that have been here for hundreds of years. I'm planning on asking Randall to come on the podcast sometime too and to talk about this because he finds them everywhere. The earthbounds are just everywhere. Ray says, don't force anything. If you can't have babies and you can't adopt, leave it there. My aunt was stubborn and wanted a baby. She hung outside hospitals till she found a girl. Oh, shit. Wow. Just don't force things. Yep. Sounds like a difficult life lesson for her, Ray. But everything happens for a reason. Keep in mind that even our adopted parents are often chosen. In fact, there's a heartbreaking situation I'm helping a friend through right now where his children were actually taken from him. And I went in to find out what's wrong because obviously, I mean, that's one of the most traumatizing things you can ever go through. So I wanted to find out why. So we went into his Akashic record and we also went to check on the children to make sure they were all right. And they were slightly upset, obviously. I should say slightly. They were quite upset. But the crazy thing about this is that we actually asked, we said, is this part of the plan or is this something that has happened like a freak incident? And no, it was 100% part of the plan. It was the plan that he chose. So he would actually be out campaigning for parents who are in a similar situation. And it's part of what the children chose. In fact, the people that are looking after them are part of their plan too. You have soul contracts for every important person in your life. That includes your adopted parents, etc. It's not an easy thing to discuss, especially when you're going through something that's literally the most traumatizing thing you've ever been through. And then to hear that it's like, oh, it's part of your plan, it doesn't make it easier. But sometimes it can be helpful to know. So that way you, like I said, you don't go beating yourself up over these things because it is part of the plan. And there are so many important parents out there that are doing a foster role. And I'm thinking of you, Cindy. Nice to see you, darling. So many important people I would love to foster. If I wasn't so busy, And if I had a partner to help me, single parents do struggle with fostering the most. They work extra hard. So otherwise, I would probably foster as well, to be honest, since Aiden is an only child. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. In fact, I would love to. If I had the means to, I would. Michelle says, my husband is grateful he was adopted. His adopted dad was the best dad ever. They were so close. Aw. See, that just goes to show that souls recognize souls. It's far deeper than blood, you know? You can have a far better connection with somebody who's not a blood relative. And keep in mind that a lot of times we are actually dealing with a lot of generational trauma. And so people who are kind of in that cycle have been put in that cycle, unfortunately. Hunter says that's always the hardest part of readings, telling them when something is meant to be that way. Yep. 100%. And I think that, it doesn't help the pain with it either. Just because it's meant to happen doesn't make it easier in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, and sometimes it makes it harder for me. When I found out something happened because it was like fate, it's like, well, fuck you, fate. It's like, what if I wanted to change the plan here? I thought we get to do that. And you can change the plan, for the record. Just because you made soul contracts before you incarnated does not mean that you cannot make new soul contracts and cancel old soul contracts anytime you wish. My granddad and two of his brothers were put into childcare by their mother. She came back for two of them, and my granddad was left alone. Are you serious, Anya? That is so messed up. Wow. I'm so sorry to hear about that. That's crazy. This is the kind of thing, back in the day, people were a lot less connected to their children. I think this is one of the signs that humanity is evolving in many ways. Did you guys see the old ads from the 80s where they're like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? I've been seeing those all over Facebook recently. Like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Because a lot of people apparently didn't know where their children were back in the 80s. I remember that my parents, they had the normal rule that almost everybody had back in the 80s. When the streetlights come on, you come home. And if the streetlights are not on, you are not allowed in the house. You want water? Go drink out of the hose. Yes, 100% that was my parents. Did you finish your chores yet? No, then you may not come in. Back in the day, it was just survival mode and fear. Yes, Jessica, 100%. I feel like a lot of people were doing that. We're just surviving. Tidy says, to the hose. Now, see, the hose, you got to be careful you don't get sprayed in the face with 90-degree water as well. I grew up on a farm, too, so that did not make it any easier. Having to hay, grain, and water so many horses and ducks and chickens and geese and all sorts of stuff. Just, oh, my God. We had so many animals. And the children, when you're on a farm and you're a child, it's like you will learn. You will learn all the things. I was an employee from age 4, probably. So yeah, things have changed quite a lot, even just for my generation. I'm not even 40 yet, and things have changed so drastically. Animals eat first. Amen to that, Jessica. Spent most of my childhood outside running around barefoot. That's another part of it, Adriana. Absolutely. They had so much trauma after the wars. Yep. World War I, World War II, Vietnam. Yep. 100%. It's still going on. There's still people that are traumatized from the Iraq and Afghani situation, all of it. Palestine. There's a lot of people. War is traumatic for everybody, and it hasn't changed in thousands of years, unfortunately. So I wanted to talk about another book before I forget. So I almost forgot again. So those were the David Schwimmer books. Like I said, there's 2 books about Moo, and then he's got the one about Earthbounds. And then if you guys saw my post this morning, was having a bit of a laugh. I was, like I said, I've been doing some more research into Earthbounds because I'm trying to write my Lost Soul Rescue protocol. So that way we have our steps that we go through. I have to write it from scratch. So I've been trying to compile information. And so this is another book I got. It's from an Aussie named Carrie Irwin. And Carrie is a medium that's been practicing doing lost soul rescue for 20 years at least. And her book is called Spirit Rescue, Clearing Negative Energy and Freeing Earthbound Souls. So this is where I'm getting my information for writing my new protocol for this lost soul rescue. I've got probably about 5 of these books that I am compiling for this lost soul rescue protocol. David Schwimmer or George? George Schwimmer. David Schwimmer is an actor, I believe. Yeah. There he is. David, there it is. He's got another book here. Like I said, Earthbound Spirits Are Attached to You and How You Can Remove Them. George Schwimmer, PhD. So if you guys are interested in doing the similar digging that I am doing, those are the new books I've got that I plan to read over the weekend. So my daughter had a classmate who was from Guatemala and was obviously adopted by an American family. He was the happiest and the wisest child in the class. He was saying he was blessed with 2 mothers. That is so sweet. So it's very clearly that children do, I mean, the nice ones anyway, it's clear when they choose their parents. But when you're choosing not so nice parents is when you're wondering what the hell you were thinking. Especially if it's true that, I mean, obviously it is true that we watch our parents for a few days, weeks, or even months before we incarnate. So there's a lot of people who I'm laughing at the pivot comment, Jessica. There's a lot of people who end up choosing parents that are real pieces of work, if you know what I mean. And I think the reason for that is just as important as the reason for why you would choose important, these loving, kind parents. Is because you learn just as much, if not more, from the toxic parents than you did the loving ones. It's obviously not as nice things you're learning, but sometimes those things end up being paramount to what your experience is going to be later on as an adult. So it's kind of like you're in training from the minute you're born when you've got shitty parents like that. And reminds me of what George Carlin said when somebody was talking about respecting your elders, and he said elders need to earn their respect as well. It's not just about respecting somebody because they're older. Some people that are older, they need to learn how to give it before they can receive it. Kelly says, I would love to know why I chose a mother who hates me. Because probably it's a karmic relationship. We've talked about karmic relationships quite a bit the last few days because they're one of the number one reasons why so many of us have traumatic relationship is because we have karma with these people. These situations tend to actually get more toxic over the incarnations in a way too, because it's almost like, so you have a situation that unfolds between you two, right? And it could be something as petty as, she didn't like the way you behaved yourself, or she didn't like the partner you chose in a past life, or she didn't like some action that you took. And it builds a grudge, right? And then that grudge starts to build, and then it builds toxicity. And then she would do something to you, and then you would do something to her. And that builds the toxicity between you two, that builds the grudge between both of you. And then you end up having a difficult relationship in every single incarnation you end up meeting again, because you end up being reintroduced to work out those grudges, to work out all of that aggression and drama. And when you don't work out the aggression and the drama, you end up compiling more aggression and drama. So then when you get into the chance, most of the time, when we have somebody like this, when it's an early on type of situation, they end up somebody like a bully or a partner. But when you're really not getting it right and things are getting worse, like creating like a snowball effect, I've noticed that it's almost like they're like, okay, you have to be close familial relatives now. It's like when you are that close, you have no choice but to try and work it out. And so I'm just saying from a generic standpoint is that most of the time when we have an incarnated family member that has some kind of a grudge or some kind of a negative thing against us, it's not just one incarnation. It's not just one. Normally it's multiple. And so you're working on layers of baggage, not just one thing. And most people tend to blame the one thing because that's all they know about, like for example, what you just mentioned, Kelly. But to be honest, like I feel like there's something much deeper than that. Because you can check this out with your Akashic record, like with Patty the other day, for example. Patty and I, we had a great chat, as many of you saw. So you can find out why you have these issues with hypnosis, through mediumship, and through the Akashic records. Because all of this is written down in all of your contracts. There is a reason. And the guides can tell you what that reason is. Whether or not you're going to like it is a whole nother story. Because most of the time we don't like it. My parents are very overprotective, and it taught me, thanks to my Aquarius stellium, that I wanted my freedom. I left at 18. I got emancipated at 17. So I feel you on that, Jessica. I didn't even wait till I was 18. No, I was emancipated right around my 17th birthday. I got my GED and I said, nope, I'm done. Bye. See you. And it's funny too, because I didn't get along with either of my parents too much. Well, it was more my dad's. I was a big fan of my dad. My mom and I did not get along at all until the last 5 years. My mom and we're pretty close now, but the first 35 years of my life, my mom and I were not close. We had a lot of stuff we had to work out. But going through 2 divorces has really helped me identify why she is the way she is and why she was struggling and why she was so difficult during certain periods of her life. We don't realize that our parents are still growing up too. When we're children, our parents are still growing up. They're still learning things. They're still adapting. And so that was one of the biggest things I learned with my mom, is the fact that, after going through what I went through, I could relate to what she went through. And it made it a lot easier for us to kind of mend things. Leanne says it can be a struggle to choose parents that have issues, but the growth I have been gaining now has shown me why I chose them. Absolutely. And sometimes, remember what they said, sometimes the most important lesson, like Patty said, is to cut them off. Because sometimes we end up incarnating with them over and over and over again because we're expecting them to get it right, to learn the lesson that we're trying to teach through our presence. And sometimes they just don't learn it. So this is why if you forgive somebody, you are mending your karma. Okay, we talk about karma all the time, and people get a completely wrong assumption as to what karma is. People think that karma is like like you hurt me, I hurt you kind of situation. Or if you do something to me, the universe is going to get you for it. But that's not what karma is. In fact, we create our own karma through our guilt, through our anger, through our feeling of injustice. So when we feel that we have been wronged by someone, we end up creating a karmic cord with this person where we are basically kind of it's like you're in a pause, it's like your soul doesn't learn the lesson. And so it's kind of like you're stuck in a situation. And when you're in those situations, it's like your nose is right in it, right? So you can't really see how far you've gone into the situation. And this happens a lot with people. You'd be surprised how often people don't even realize that they're repaying some kind of karmic thing. So if there's somebody in your life that you feel, no, I could never, ever forgive that person. That person hurt me so bad, I will never forgive them. You have karma with that person, I guarantee it. Because the act of not forgiving, of choosing not to forgive that person, is the baggage that you're holding on to. And so, unfortunately, a lot of people hold on to this baggage. They don't get over it. And unless they get over it, they're going to end up incarnating with the same people over and over and over again. So it's very important to work on. This is part of the shadow work that we're always talking about, is the forgiveness that we need to feel towards the people around us, especially our family. Because like I said, you don't want to have to incarnate and learn the same lessons over again. And if you learn the lesson, so let's say that you have an issue with a sibling, okay? And you're over it. You get over that sibling issue and you don't have to, you don't have to get over anything. You've healed it, right? You feel indifferent towards the situation, or you feel love towards them despite the situation. If you forgive them, your karma is clear. So a lot of people message me going, do I have karma? A lot of people want to know if they have any karmic contracts. And sometimes the soul guides will say, no, they've cleared them all out. And there was another person the other day who actually said, no, you don't have karma, but if you keep thinking about it, you will. That was a hell of a message, because this person was like, do I have karma with this person? Like, I really don't want anything to do with this person. Like, please make sure I don't have any karmic bonds with them. So we go in and we check. No, you don't have any. But if you keep thinking about it, if you keep feeling like you have a karmic bond with this person, I guarantee you're going to create one. So as long as you forgive them, you get to clear your karma. And even if they don't forgive you, they can work it out with somebody else that needs to repair their karma. So you end up freeing yourself from the burden regardless. So hi, Ariana. Ariana wanted to talk about, so the medium I was talking about this morning, because I shared 2 videos this morning. They were quite funny videos, actually. One was about an earthbound that was named Winston that was harassing this British guy. And Winston was constantly like throwing his things around and just being a little shit, really, is what Winston was being. So that is what we call a poltergeist. And in the comments, we're talking about smudging and the importance of smudging. And last night, I did a little Google as to this new author, Carrie Irwin. That's how I found out she's Australian. So if you go on YouTube and you search Carrie Irwin, or funnily enough, if you search Earthbounds, which is how I found her in the first place, on YouTube, you will find her videos discussing smudging. And she was talking about how a lot of people, she doesn't believe smudge properly. And she was explaining, this is, like I said, this is the same woman that wrote this book, Carrie Irwin. You can find her on YouTube. And in her video, she was explaining about how, those little smudge sticks. I was going to say, where's mine? Mine's around here somewhere. Where'd it go? I don't know where it went. It's around somewhere. Oh, that's right. I was smudging my living room earlier. It's probably still out there. So, those little smudge sticks, they're only about this big, right? Do I have another one here? Maybe I do. So you get different kinds of smudges. You get the small ones, and like these ones. There it is. You get little guys like this. I have, like I said, like 20 of these. And then you get the big dudes. She was talking about the big guys. She said these little guys are more for like a single room when you're like trying to cleanse the office or something. But if you're trying to cleanse your whole house, you need one of these big suckers, right? So I got this for those of you who want to have a serious smudge stick. I got this from Shaman Market. Shaman Market. It's all fair trade, organic, sustainably harvested. They support Native American communities. They're lovely. I love Shaman Market. I got all kinds of stuff from them. So their smudge sticks are amazing. This is a sage, cedar, and lavender, I believe, smudge. Oh, yeah, there's definitely some lavender in there. And it's shedding a little bit. See? It starts to shed these things. The lavender makes it shed. But what happens if you light this and you walk throughout your house? Now, many people have asked for years, what's the proper way to smudge? Because some people say you smudge with the windows shut. Some people say you smudge with them open. So Carrie, she's been a medium for like 40 years, 40, 50 years. She's for pretty much her whole life. She swears she watches spirits and how they react when you're smudging. So she said that when you smudge a house that has got earthbounds or any sort of dark negative entities in it, what you do is you basically need to fumigate the property. Okay, so for those of you who know what I mean by fumigate, when you're dealing with fleas, what do? You shut all the windows. They set off the gas or whatever it is when you got a really bad fumigator, and it settles throughout the house. And then it takes a few hours to clear, and then they open up all the doors and windows, etc. Right? Similar thing. She explains that you basically smudge them out, like you smoke them out of your house. You go through the whole house with the windows and doors shut, Like I said, everybody can do things differently, but this is what Carrie was suggesting in the YouTube video. I'm going to invite her on the podcast, actually. There's something about her vibe. I really like her. So I'm going to see if I'm going to can get a hold of her, invite her on. But she was saying you leave the windows and doors shut until your house is almost like a layer of smoke that you can see. You know, if you've been smoking a lot or if you've been burning the sage, you do see like a layer of smoke that just kind of sits in the room. That is how you know you've done it right. When all of your house has been like literally fumigated, that's when you open the doors and windows. The reason for that is she says that she's watched them. They go from one room to another. You're basically chasing them around the house with the smudge stick. And they go to the areas of the house that are the least smoky and they wait it out. Otherwise, the really smart ones, they'll just go outside. They just wait outside and then they come back in after the house has been cleared. So, yeah. Nancy, hi, Nancy. Nice to see you, love. Nancy says you can see the smoke wrap around entities. So no wonder they don't like it. They're just like, ah. But keep in mind that, you know, if you have elderly people or children or animals, or if you are sensitive to smoke yourself, smudging may not work. So one of the best things you can do is get one of these little suckers. I've shown this a few times. This is my little genie bottle. Very dusty. So this thing is actually set on a timer. And it's really easy. Like you just put in water in the bottom. Then you drop in some essential oils. This thing reeks of frankincense. Holy shit. That was a very strong frankincense smell. Whew. So I could tell what I had in there recently. I put frankincense and water and I think maybe some sage in here. And if you have it set on a timer, like this one I got on Amazon for like 25 bucks. It lights up. It's pretty cool. It's got like smoke that comes out the top. Or I should say vapor that comes out the top. But if you mix that in up, like I said, with essential oils that are used for cleansing, you can actually just have that running in your house. You can have it, you know. Daniel says clam bake the house. Yeah, essentially. So yeah, you can actually, if you don't want to have any smoke alarms going off, you can use the essential oils instead. And it's nice that those actually go off on a timer too. So it's like every 15 minutes you can get a blast of sage going through your house. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to get one from my bedroom. Just so nothing messes with me while I'm sleeping. It can go off. And you can have it light, medium, or dense, you know what I mean, the smell. So if you just have it on light and have it going off like every 30 minutes or so, I imagine it's keeping your house pretty inhospitable for entities, just doing that. Essential oils are really bad for cats. Make sure that you're checking what essential oils too. If you do have pets, yes, some essential oils are not recommended for pets. So make sure that you look into it. Just keep in mind that what pets are already dealing with, the amount of the amount of shit in our candles and in our cleaning stuff. I saw one of those cat videos the other day. I forget the name of the cat, but he's got like one of those buttons, you know, like the sticker things. And they were cleaning the bathroom and he kept saying, ouch, ouch. Every time they were cleaning the bathroom, he would go and hit the ouch button. Like it was causing him pain, shame, because of how strong the smells were. So yeah, I also tend to use only essential oils for cleaning, etc. All those chemicals, they're no help. Hi, Amma. Amma says, Laura, last time we talked about iron bars as protection on doors and balconies. Would it have the same effect if the iron is made in an orgonite? Well, any iron is a very, you know, powerful frequency for blocking electromagnetic frequencies. So that's essentially what it's doing, is it's blocking all outside EMFs. Kind of like lead does as well. Lead also does the same thing. Make sure that you use pure 100% organic, high frequency oils. Lots of companies say they're organic, but they aren't. Well said, Jody. Yes, make sure that you're getting it from a reputable source, 100%. And one of the things I forgot to mention about iron is that a lot of people use it for protection around their house. People will put like nails in the corners of the room. Some people put horseshoes up by the front and back door. On days when I feel like, you know what's funny? You know, a couple months ago when I was dealing with really bad psychic attacks, right when I finished the SRT training, I put a frying pan. I have a cast iron frying pan that I put under my bed, loaded it full of salt, and put it under my bed. I have not had any harassment since. It was bad. Like I woke up in the middle of the night. It felt like something was force choking me. Like I woke up having a coughing fit in the middle of the night. And that is not normal. Like I knew something was trying to choke me in my sleep. And that's when I went downstairs and grabbed the frying pan, filled it with sea salt, and then put it under my bed. And sure enough, I have not had a night attack since. So maybe that has something to do with it. I didn't even think about that. Yep. Yep. Cast iron pan with salt under the bed. Yep. My intuition, I don't know where I got that idea from. That was not me. I am not that clever. That was somebody else that was like, hey, go do this. Jody's got a list of oils that are safe. Yes, although not safe for dogs and cats. Yes, make sure. There you go. There's the link. Essential oils for cats and dogs. Some of them are okay, but some are not. So it's good to know which ones are not. I believe sage is okay. I've never heard that sage essential oil is bad for pets. But I don't know about frankincense and copal and all those others that I tend to use, because I use a lot of different ones. I really do. I have a lot. In fact, I think I had them out yesterday. Yeah, see, I did. Yeah, I got all kinds of different ones. But yeah, the problem is that a lot of these are not organic. Like for these ones, for example, this was a nice little kit I got. It is the Spiritual Awareness Essential Oil Blend. So it's frankincense, benzoin, myrrh, copal, frankincense, and myrrh. And then it's got all the little writings as to what the essential oils do. So the frankincense and myrrh one is the one that I had in the diffuser that was like, whoo, strong. And it talks about all these different things, what the smells are, what they're used for. Yeah, like myrrh is used for cleansing, for medicine, for sacred purposes, for ritual, all kinds of different things. See, it's pretty cool. I love these little kits that they sell out. There's a bunch of them, but I don't think these are organic now that you mention it. Oh, no, they are. Cool. I had these so long, I don't even remember where I got them. Probably another Renaissance fair or something. I don't know. Where did you get that kit? I don't remember where I got this. Probably on Amazon or something. Yeah, there's a whole lot of them. In fact, I have a bunch of different ones because I've been experimenting with making my own candles and such. I like this one as well, but I don't think this one is. No, this one is not organic. This is the Laguna Moon one that a lot of people like. This is a cool kit too, because check it out. Like it opens up. This is rose that's missing. It's got chamomile, cedar, cinnamon, lavender, bergamot, jasmine, peppermint, eucalyptus, vetiver, and then it opens up at the bottom. Oh, isn't that cool? Grapefruit, vanilla, frankincense, orange, lemon, lemongrass, tea tree, sandalwood, rosemary. So I use these for making candles, like this guy. See? Just sent them like this because I don't want to use other candles anymore. I used to love these sort of things. Where are they? This is one of my favorites. Like this one here. This was one of my favorite brands. I have not used this in 2 years. It actually smells like lilac, right? But the problem is these chemicals in these candles are so toxic. They're really, really bad. So this is why I have not used it, and it's just been chilling here for literally like 2 years not being used because, yeah, these chemicals that they put in candles are really not good. And I realized that sometimes if you're organic, is this organic? No, it doesn't say. The problem is a lot of these companies, you just don't know if they're good or not. And when you get a lot of good reviews online, they may or may not be accurate. Tracy says, I get a sore throat from store-bought candles. Yep, same here. So this is one of the reasons why, though. And I use only organic wax as well. My wax is made. This is why it looks like that, is because it's made with. I did put some coloring in the bottom one, but this is made with beeswax. That's why it's the color. Beeswax is the best thing you can burn for candles. It's a lot more expensive though. So just keep that in mind for those of you who are prepping for November as well. Michelle says, are soy candles okay? I use the organic soy. I don't know. I know it's better. I have both. I have, because like I said, the beeswax is like 3 times the price of soy, if not more. So you can actually like find organic soy wax beads. That's what I use to make my candles too. Rachel says, any thoughts on drinking out of copper? Yes, copper is actually really one of the best things you can drink out of. There's a lot of reasons for that. The way that the metal, the way water and the beverages react with the metal. I feel like there's something that leaches out of the copper. I can't remember what it is either. My brain is not. I don't know why I wanted to say fullerenes, but that's actually what comes out of the shungite. Because shungite is also has things that go into the water that people look for healing properties. Copper does the same thing. I got the no grid emergency manual from TikTok, arrived yesterday. Nice, Kelly. Maybe you could share a picture of that in the group, in the prepper group. Janet says, question, Laura, what does Chen say about November? So we have several different timelines that kind of tend to converge at certain points. As many of you have already heard, my favorite analogy for this is like the choose your own adventure books. You know, you may choose part of the journey, you may decide where the journey goes, but it's like all 3 paths all end up on page 76. You know what I mean? It's kind of what's happening here is that there's a lot of different timelines and they're all kind of converging right now. And they said that due to this convergence, there's very few timelines that we actually have to choose from to be able to navigate through the future. And the reason for that is because of this shift that's happening. There's a lot of things that are culminating right now. Like a lot of stuff, we're working out shit that happened 13,000 years ago right now. Like most of us have been here in the past. Most of us that are here now are here to work out shit from the past. So when it comes to November, we have been warned by the soul guides that there may be some kind of an event that is going to affect the grid and the economy and the banking system and a whole lot of stuff. So if you Google CrowdStrike, you'll see how things kind of went down as part of a test recently. And so, yeah, if you want to have an idea as to what's going on, you can join our group. It's called Collective Preppers. In fact, I'll find the link for it. So if you guys want to join, for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I didn't want to ignore the question, but I don't want to go into it too much because I've talked about this so much recently. But here is the group that we're in where we're discussing all of these things and how we're getting prepared just in case it does happen. Because better safe than sorry, right? If it doesn't happen, cool. If it does happen, cool. We're set. And if it doesn't happen, then we can donate the food in a year from now. All those canned food, etc., we can donate it and make it help people in different ways. But just in case, considering the soul guides are like, yeah, this is a very high probability we're moving into this timeline, it's a good idea just to make sure that you are prepared for a couple weeks of no electricity. So, yeah, it just gives you a chance to make sure that you got all your bases covered just in case shit really does hit the fan. Like we have been kind of foreshadowing for years now. I mean, the shit hit the fan 4 years ago, and many people said it was going to happen. And sure enough, it did. So now we're getting another warning that shit's hitting the fan. And just like I said, better safe than sorry. I'm not taking any chances. Regina says that'll be fun in Canada. Yeah, make sure that you guys have ways of staying warm. That is the biggest thing because that's where they're going to get us the most is lack of warmth. Because it will be happening supposedly in November, right around the election time. They said that we may or may not have an election. It all depends on when they feel like pulling the plug. Because it's basically what's going to happen is a bunch of billionaires are going to pull the plug, really. That's all it is. They're going to have Big temper tantrum. They throw temper tantrums all the time, but they're going to throw an even bigger one this time, apparently. So for those of you who don't really know what I'm talking about, feel free to join our group and you can learn more about it. We're talking about it quite a bit in the group. And for those of you who would like to learn more about it, hi, Matt. Nice to see you, bud. For those of you who would like to learn more, you can join, like I said, our Astara group. If you go on to Astara, you will actually see, where is it? Going to the Mighty Network. So if you join astarecommunity.com and you sign up and then you join the Mighty Network and then you switch, you'll see this is at the top. This is our community. And if you go down to membership replays, you'll see right there at the top, our chats with Andy and Chen. That's the one. You see the one on the bottom there in February? There's one from February 24th. That is when he let the cat out of the bag and he gave us all those warnings. So we've had several chats about this. If you go onto Astara, into our overview of Astara workshop replays, you can find the chats where Chen was explaining all of this in depth as to what is most likely to occur as we continue down this particular timeline. You are most welcome, Janet. Happy to help. Like I said, I'm doing everything I can to remain objective about this, as I have no fear about this. I really don't. I realize some of you do, which is why I'm trying not to be all like, yeah, I'm trying to be happy about it. I mean, because to be honest, like, I'm just happy things are going to change. It's the status quo that bothers me more than anything else. The fact that nothing has changed in 2,000 years or more is really, I shouldn't say nothing, but most of it hasn't. Most of the same shit. We're still being controlled by the Romans, if you think about it. So no, things haven't really changed. So I'm just excitement for, I want change. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't even care if it gets worse for a little while. As long as I know things are going to eventually get better. I'm like, woohoo, let's do it. I am so ready for change. Exactly, David. We have been waiting so long. I have wanted this since, oh God, since 9/11. I've been waiting for this for 20 years, if not longer. So, I mean, to be waiting this long for change, to be waiting for something to happen, and especially the whole 2012 thing too, because because 2012 really got me. I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. Everybody thought the world was going to end on December 21st. When nothing happened, I felt like the biggest idiot in the world. I totally felt like I had egg on my face from being like, see guys, 2012, it's going to happen. And I think the reason I fell for the 2012 stuff so hard was because of my astral projection, because, I mean, they pulled me out of body. It was on February 21st, 2012. So exactly 10 months before the December 21st date, date that everybody was talking about. So I prepped for 2012 thinking, oh my God, it's going to happen. And it didn't. And oh my God, I felt so dumb. And so many of my friends were like, dang, nothing happened. And I'm like, oh, and this is one of the reasons why, if I didn't have 100% trust in Chen and the soul guides that are giving us this advice, I would not have fallen for it. I would not, even for a minute, have entertained the thought of a future prophecy. So, like I said, this is 100% down to the fact that I trust my guides so much that I don't think they would make us look like fools, to be honest. I really don't. And who knows? Maybe shit will not happen, and maybe we'll end up with having a huge ostrich egg on our face. I am still happy that I prepared regardless. Better safe than sorry, as they say. I love how Jessica says we're almost done with Jumanji. Yes. That's a great analogy, actually. Thinking that the game is almost over, Oh, so funny. So many have prepped over and over. The timeline shifts between 2000 was another one. I know. It's like the Y2K thing. A lot of people were prepping for Y2K and then nothing happened. So do you ever think that maybe the cabal was doing that to kind of trick us into not getting prepared for something in the future? Lynn's like, it's 11 o'clock. Is Lara supposed to be somewhere? That's funny, Lynn. You're hilarious. No, there's no chat on Ostara for me today. Although there may be for somebody else. Let's see. It's 11 o'clock. Where are you supposed to be, Laura? That's funny. Let's see what Daniela sent me. Hi, Daniela. Love you. Oh, yes. We have Lauren. So every single one of you should be going in right now to your alarms, to your events, to your calendar, and setting a notification. Tomorrow is a free class. It's an 8-part meditation class tomorrow with Dr. Lauren Roche. Sorry. So for those of you who remember Lauren, he is one of the best meditative experts in the world. I don't think there's many people that you could learn from that would be better than Lauren. Lauren is incredible. So for those of you who have not, who've been wanting to learn more about meditation, make sure that you check it out. Okay. It's a free class. It's free on Ostara, so anybody can join. And that's at 1 p.m. I would like to reiterate this. There's a couple people that we've had that were phenomenal teachers. People like Laura Whitworth, who is one of the most sought after hypnosis teachers in the world. And people were not showing up for her classes. That's why she's no longer doing classes on Ostara. So for the love of God, please, guys, please go to these classes so we can keep these world-renowned educators who are giving their time and energy for this community. Please make sure that they're actually, that not one person is showing up, because there was a case where, literally Steph was the only person who showed up to Lauren's last meditation class. I realized that you guys need notifications. You need the, but we've had, like I said, several people, Ron and Mike, are not doing classes on Ostara anymore because people are not showing up. Okay. So if you guys want us to keep continuing bringing world-renowned educators on Ostara, you guys got to show up. That's the most important thing. I cannot say it enough. If only 2 people show up, they're not going to come back and teach another one. Okay. So please, 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 please. Okay. I will also hopefully be there. I'm going to try my best. I hope I can. I've got family visiting at the moment, so I'm going to try, but that'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Okay. So just make sure that you guys are there. 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's Eastern time. So for those of you in the UK, that is 6 p.m. It's on Ostara, so you guys will see it. So I'm going to share the link for it. Ostara Community. Community. I couldn't spell it right there for a second. OstaraCommunity.com. I know. Some of you have to work. I also have to do stuff tomorrow too. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be there, even though I'm like, better show up. I'm going to try my best to show up as well, because like I said, life is crazy right now and I totally get it. But just make sure that you guys are setting an alarm so that way, or getting a notification. I realize that so many people show up to watch the podcast just because Facebook and YouTube gives you a notification. So make sure that you guys are also setting notifications so you don't miss it. 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 6 p.m. in the UK. So if you can't check out the live, there will be a recording that'll go up after. Christopher always puts the recordings up after. So, yep. Please do go on and make sure you check it out. Like I said, Lauren is one of the best people in the world for learning about meditation from. In fact, the way he teaches meditation, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. In fact, there's a lot of people who are, like I said, just phenomenal teachers who we are getting involved in this work. And so we just need to make sure they're getting the turnout that they deserve. Regina says, we show up because you're amazing. Thank you so much, Regina. Love you. So yeah, just make sure that you guys check it out, because like I said, Lauren, the way he teaches meditation, anybody can meditate. Even for those of you who cannot visualize, for those of you who get easily distracted. He's the way that he teaches meditation, absolutely anybody can do it. In fact, it makes you want to do meditation. Lauren is so good at teaching meditation. He makes meditation not boring. And his voice is so calming and soothing. And for those of you who've never listened to him live, he memorizes Sumerian meditations as well. So he actually does some meditations literally in Sumerian, ancient Sumerian dialect. And whenever I hear Lauren speaking like that, it literally puts chills all over my body. So yeah, make sure that you check it out. There will be a replay available. Christopher always puts up replays afterward. And if you're like Heidi, who find meditation so boring, because my ADD brain cannot normally handle meditation. I have to be doing 2 or 3 things at once. Like if I'm watching something on TV, I'm generally like rolling stuff. I'm doing, I'm rolling, not what you think. I was rolling copper the other day while I was trying from Organite. So I always have to be busy. Like I'm one of those people that likes to I have to like knit or something while I'm doing this thing. I am so easily distracted for that reason. I love Lauren's meditations. I can focus on, I'm telling you, there's something about Lauren and the way he does his meditations. They're not boring at all. And so make sure that you check it out and give him a chance. My 40-pound dog tries to sit in my lap every day when he hears Lara's voice. Oh, that's so cute. Love that. Hi, Jamie. You're so welcome. I'm glad to hear that your mom is feeling better. That's great. Wonderful. I don't know why, but I just had the thought of playing some healing frequencies around her. Do you have a singing bowl or any tuning forks or anything? If you do, I don't know why, but I had the intuitive thought that some sound frequencies would do well for her. So maybe give that a go if you can. Krista says, thanks again for your energy bubbles today, Lara. Let's see, sending love and out there to everyone who is emotionally struggling. Beautifully said, Krista. Thank you very much. We're all going through a tough time right now. This is not an easy time. Where is the meditation on Astara? Hi, Asher. So I'm going to put this down here for you. It's Astara Community.com. If you join AstaraCommunity.com, you sign up, you get a login you create. And then as soon as you have the login, you can access all of this stuff either on a laptop. If you access it on a laptop, you've got all kinds of goodies up there. Or you can download the Mighty app. So it's just an app that's called Mighty. And then if you go onto it, see, there it is right there at the bottom. Ignore all my notifications. So if you go to the Mighty app, you'll see once you've added your login details, you'll see the Astara Community, and it'll be up there. It'll be under the free content, I believe. Because, yeah, it'll definitely be a free one. The community free side. And there's a lot of stuff in the community free side. All kinds of live stream replays and community conversations and upcoming events. We also have like a chat area too. So if you guys want to talk about things that are not, Facebook, approved. Mara says, are you watching? They're testing our American stock market. It's historically down today. No, I did not know that. I'm going to check that really quick before I go off here. Stock market. Let's see. I did not know that. See, I love how we get our news from each other because we don't watch the news. Wow, the Dow tumbled 800 points. Interesting. I wonder what they're up to. Japanese stocks plunged by 6% in the largest drop since the start of the pandemic. Interesting. Okay. They're messing with stuff. This is what the cabal does. They tend to mess with our system. They're always doing shocks to the system too, like saying there's a shortage on something. When there actually isn't, they just hoard it for a while and then not release it until they feel that they're done with their shock. Oh, nice plan, Chantal. I like that. Super chillin'. So yeah, for those of you who are excited for tomorrow, make sure that you don't miss out. Make sure that I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else I'm missing here. Let me go and check this really quick. So there's a lot of other recordings up there as well. So Jacqueline Burke has been doing her daily coherence every day. There's also yoga that's been up there with Tara Franklin. Tara's been doing yoga. So make sure that you go and check out the recordings on Astara too, because there's all kinds of interesting stuff. Jamie says, I'm not sure if it's true, but I saw a huge TikTok about how there's like this gigantic amount of cheese being hoarded underground. There's a lot of things being hoarded right now for a whole number of reasons. Lionsgate portal is coming. Yes, I didn't think about that. So the 8-8 portal is opening soon. So whenever you have things like this, it's almost like an energy flux happens on those dates. And things kind of get a little chaotic. So that's why I say, like, make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves. Make sure that you're getting the rest you need. Make sure that you're drinking lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of water, especially right now with all of this chaos happening. This is the number one advice that the guides give. Every single time I say, is the client drinking enough water? They say, nope, nope. I say, okay, should I suggest water? Yep, and they need water. They need a lot of water. So make sure that you guys are drinking a shitload of water today. Make sure that you go out and ground yourselves, walk barefoot on the ground. Make sure that you're grounding your energy, because if you're getting headaches, you're not grounded. And remember to ground your crown as well. This is something another medium explained to me recently. It was actually one of the soul guides explained this to me. Think of a battery, right? If you take a battery and place it one end into something, it doesn't work, right? You need to have both ends need to be put in. You know, it needs to be grounded properly for it to work. So do we. So make sure that you guys are visualizing this. Make sure that you're fully rooted when you're doing this. Last week I had a super powerful, vivid dream that I was making energy balls and sending them to my mom. And I was like, oh my God, this is real and it's working. I can do it. Yes, absolutely. And you know what's funny? When the guides told me, my mom was having some adverse reactions to the you know what, and the soul guides, I asked them, I said, can you please go and send some healing to my mom? And they said, we're going to send healing, but you need to go over there and remove it yourself. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, she needs to see you do it. So she believes it's being done. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I go over to my mom's and she had pain in her arm, and I took a crystal. It was the weirdest thing. I go to like touch her arm and I could feel like there was a cord or something wrapped around it. And I literally felt like I was pulling it out. She could feel me pulling on her arm as I was literally pulling something out. And I asked the guides, I was like, what the hell was that? And they're like, no, you were pulling out all the shit that was put in there. And I was like, really? But you couldn't do that? And they're like, no, we could, but it's more powerful if you do it because she can see you doing it. And I was like, what? That is crazy. So make sure that you guys are practicing these things, because it is working. It absolutely does work. All of this healing does. The Reiki healing works, pulling things out of people. In fact, the other day, right, I had a thought that was really bothering me. It was a negative thought. It was a very critical, self-critical thought, and it would not go away. It happened over and over and over again. I kept getting the same thought. So you know what's funny? I visualized it. Do you guys ever see that scene in Harry Potter where they're pulling thoughts out of their heads and it looked like a little white worm or something? Like they were literally pulling thoughts out of their heads and removing it and putting it in something. I visualized that thought. I literally visualized the thought and I pulled it out of my head and I threw it, and it stopped. It stopped. It went away. And I was like, oh my God. Because it kept coming back. Like when I wasn't expecting it to, I would have the thought again. And I was like, no, fuck off. Like, you have to treat these thoughts like they're an intrusive, like an invader. And that's what I did. I literally visualized it as something gross that I could pull off. And I was like, ugh, just get off of me, And it went away. It actually stopped. So make sure that you guys try that out and see if it works. And whenever there's something that's on you or attached to you, just, But one of the things yesterday, and did a clearing on a doctor yesterday. And this doctor had a whole lot of stuff attached to them, as you would expect a doctor to. And they said that one of the best advice they said for this doctor, they said, whenever you come across a difficult case, whenever you feel that there is a case that you can like literally feel it on you in a way, you know, like sometimes these cases are so heavy. They said to shake it off. Shake it, shake it, shake, 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 shake. They said shake your whole body. Shake it like this if you have to, you know, shake your whole body to get rid of it. And they said in between patients, they said to go into her office and shake like a dog to get rid of that energy. And it's crazy because I could feel when you rub your hands together, you can feel that energy. Now when I shake, I can feel that energy leaving. So that shake, howl, and laugh that we were doing back in the day, we really should be doing that more. I'm telling you, just shake off all the shit. Bernadette says, how does one get a clearing or cleaning? Well, there's different practitioners. You can go to the spiritreleaseacademy.com website. And if you go to, you'll see a list of practitioners, or you can go to my website. My website is astrallara.com. My wait time right now is about 2 weeks. So yeah, if you'd like a clearing, by all means, you can book one with me, or you can book one with one of my colleagues. Like I said, I've got a lot of wonderful colleagues that also do clearings. Tell your client to wash her hands in cold water between patients. Yes, that also helps too. Absolutely. Yep. Especially if you're a water sign. Water is extremely cleansing. You can, this is why they say whenever you guys get home from work, especially if you have a stressful job, one of the most important things I can recommend to you guys, if you have a stressful job, the minute you walk in, you take everything off. You take off your shoes, you take off your work clothes, and you put it immediately into the washer. Okay, because otherwise you're just going to be bingo dobbing negative energy and all your work energy all over your house, right? You don't want that. So make sure that you go and you take off all of your stuff and then you shake. You can shake or you can shower. A lot of people, my favorite thing to do is to just shower. I have sea salt in the shower. I put it in my hand. I have a big tub of thingy of it. And yeah, organic sea salt, just scrub down like it's a loofah. You know, sometimes I even scrub my face with it and everything. I felt so much better after scrubbing down with sea salt. So that is one of the ways you can keep that energy from being spread all over your house. So make sure, like I said, when you come in from work, you're not moving that energy all around. So if you have a nursing job or any sort of healthcare worker job or any sort of public service job or any sort of job where you see a lot of clients, you need to do this daily. I'm serious, daily. If you're out in the general public, if you're not working alone, generally you need this because we don't realize how much we actually pick up stuff. Regina says tourmaline by your door. You know what's cute? This doctor was very sensitive to energy and they said obsidian would be too strong of a protection for her. And I was like, really? So they actually recommended snowflake obsidian for her, for the doctor. I thought that was really cool. They told her to get some snowflake obsidian. They said it's a much more delicate form of protection that's not going to affect her energy because she's such a strong empath. I didn't think about how some crystals might be too strong until I got to know moldavite a little bit. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, some crystals can be a little too strong. Good to know. So I imagine things that are too strong, like for example, tourmaline, might end up blocking what she's trying to pick up from her clients. Because sometimes it's a delicate balance of what we're able to handle, you know, when it comes to energy. So yes, not everyone can handle tourmaline. That's so interesting. I did not know that. I figured most of these other ones, it was obsidian as well. They said said obsidian and tourmaline both were too strong for her. I love my obsidian. I have this big, so I've showed this many times. Look at this sucker. He's huge. You can tell this means business. What they say though, anything bigger than 8 inches too big. I'm kidding. You can have a small one, you know, like I said, one of these next to your electronics, that sort of thing. And then I keep this next to it. They both stand next to each other. So that way this is always keeping this clean and charged, if you know what I mean. So she goes, that's a weapon. No, this really is. This thing weighs like, I'm not even kidding, like 10 pounds. I have 10-pound weights that are next to me and they weigh about the same. It doesn't have to be very big. So yeah, these things, they, like I said, these are the things you can put all around your house, especially if you've got a lot of electronics. You can put them all around the house. But then, like I said, you don't even need to get fancy with it. I have this raw shungite all over my electronics too. Like, I mean business. Like with the work that I do. That's for burglars. Yeah, exactly, right? It's so funny. Yep. Black crystals, man, I'm telling you, they're very, very powerful. What's really cool is somebody put, I forget what kind of, it was oh yeah. It was the Curlian photography. So somebody took a black obsidian, or was it a tourmaline? I can't remember. And then they put it under the spectrum, right? And it was like pitch black. Like you could see it absorbs light, which was really cool. But then when you put selenite underneath the Curlian photography, it glowed. Like it glowed so bright white, like it was crazy. And so it's almost like you can see then the effects that it has. Like the black crystals, they absorb light. So they absorb negative energy. And these things emit light. They bounce light, refract light. Therefore, they raise the vibration. You get it? So it's like you can actually see how they work with Curlian photography. It's so cool. Amazon has stock in shungite on all electronics. Yeah, the only problem with this shungite for electronics is how expensive they tend to be. Like one for those little chiclet gum sized ones, I paid like $25. It's insane. And then it fell off anyway because the glue on it ended up wearing off. I ended up dropping it and it broke. So I'm like, So yeah, one of the best things, like I said, you can get are these pentagram stickers. I'm hiding all my stuff, but yeah, you can see the pentagram sticker right there. Yep. I have that on all my electronics now. Absolutely everywhere. It's on all of my stuff, my laptop, my TV, my everything. So any black mirrors in your house, you should have one on the back of it, just for the record, to keep any portals from opening. I have a huge piece of selenite for them and a steel bar so they get their iron. Nice, Jody. Covering all your bases. A bumblebee jasper. That's cute. A deep, beautiful yellow. That sounds lovely. Yes, Jamie, a regular pentagram sticker will work. Because as remember, these things, you know how they have deemed them all witchcraft? I didn't even put this up here for the record. That pentagram that's here on my wall, that was here when I moved in. These pentagrams are used for protection. Rachel says, what do you mean by black mirrors? Black framed? No, so black mirrors are an occult tool. Okay, it's literally, you see that mirror behind me, but black. So it's a black mirror, right? So when you have a phone, I'm trying to do it so it doesn't turn my phone on. See it? Look, black. See? It's a black screen. Your TV is a black screen. So your TV is essentially a black mirror. And so black mirrors are used for occult practices. This is one of the reasons why entities have such an easy time coming out of our television and our computers and our phones. They are literally being used as a portal. That is the number one place that I find portals, by the way. It's in people's cell phones and their televisions. So yeah, it's essentially a scrying mirror. Yep, exactly, Asher. 100%, it's a scrying mirror. So for those of you that have a TV in your bedroom, not exactly the smartest thing to do, just for the record. But you can close portals, just so you know. So natural portals are opened very easily. Okay, so what you do to close them, as I've showed many, many times, you draw the pentagram, say, draw it with your finger. I'm doing it along this so you can see what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I would just do it like this. Counterclockwise, and then slam it shut to close it. Oh, we've got a scammer. Bye-bye. Gotcha, bitch. See you. These scammers are incessant. They pop up so quickly. For those of you, if somebody ends up popping up later on, will you guys tag me? Because they do. They're popping up like hours later. These scammers. Asher says, I scry. Is that not good? No, scrying is great. Scrying is wonderful. I do scrying all the time with pendulums and dowsing rods and all kinds of things. But I am making sure that I am very well protected when I do it. And that I make sure to close any portals. because this is the problem, right? Is that when people are using any sort of divination tool, doesn't matter, you will end up opening a portal. Even if you're just sending Reiki to somebody, okay? Even me just doing this, making a ball of energy, producing this energy, and then sending it to the person that needs healing, you could have just opened a portal, just doing that in those 3 seconds. So every single time, no matter what you're doing, if you're using a pendulum, this is also a pendulum that I got this one in South Africa. This is a little dragon pendulum. So for those of you who are unaware how these things work, since I got a couple more minutes anyway, I'll just show you really quick. So there's a lot of portals that open through divination work. And why can't I get this thing open? So when you have a pendulum or any sort of divination tool, you need to have some sort, like I said, I've got this right here. So these pendulums, you see, they get a lot of these ones. People don't realize these actually work for dowsing. So you are actually carrying around a pendulum everywhere you go when you have one of these pendants, right? So if you're doing divination work, before you even get into scrying, you say something like, I call in my spirit team to protect me while I do this work. I surround myself in a bubble of white light and protection, or whatever you want to use. You visualize this with your mind's eye. You visualize the protection around you. Then you call in whoever it is that you're doing the protections with. So if you're using a pendulum for dowsing, you could say something like, show me a yes. And you see how it starts to swing counterclockwise? That is a typical yes for me. So if you want to say something like, show me a no. You see how it starts swinging back and forth? So you can ask it any questions you want. And when you're done, and like I said, you can even use maps for these. Like if you're looking for something, you can use a map. There's all kinds of different things you could use. Like I said, for using pendulums, you can use, where is it? I have boards. I have all kinds of things that I use for asking questions. But then when you're done, you close everything down, okay? So you set the intention, you say, okay, thank you for your guidance, for your blah, blah, blah. And then you say, I am closing the portals that I have opened now. So you set the intention, you draw the pentagram, you close it, you slam it down shut. So you do your protection before you use the pendulum. And make sure that when you're done using the pendulum, that, like I said, you close any portals. And you can also say something like, any energy that is attached to me that is not mine, that is not serving me to the highest good, I send back to source with peace and love. So make sure that when you're doing divination work, that you are also calling your energy back to you and sending away the other people's energy. Because a lot of times we don't realize how much energy we pick up from other people just by a thought, just by an intention. Just by thinking of your boss or whoever it is, you're sending energy to your boss, and your boss can actually subconsciously pick up on it. This is why we hear curses all the time from people that aren't even aware. In fact, one guy cursed his phone. Isn't that funny? I asked in the house, I was like, are there any cursed objects in the house? And they're like, yeah, there's a cursed object in the house. I said, what is it? And they said, oh, it's his phone. And I said, how the hell did his phone end up cursed? And they laughed and they said, he calls it a piece of shit every day. So he talks to his phone. He's like, this fucking piece of shit. I fucking hate my phone. Blah, 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 blah. He's always talking shit to his phone. Calls it names and throws it around. He hates his phone. And he cursed his own phone by being mean to his phone. So he quite literally was carrying around a cursed phone in his pocket that he cursed himself. So just be aware of how much your intentions affect objects, okay? Because it's not just, this is one of the reasons why people don't like you touching their tarot cards. If somebody touches your tarot cards, generally, like if I have mine here, I tend to do the knock, where I knock and then I brush. So you knock 3 times, brush 3 times. Tends to clear the energy if somebody's touched your deck. Otherwise, if somebody really with low vibe touches your deck, you might need to smudge it. Just for the record. Does drinking and drugs open portals? Absolutely. 100%. It's one of the biggest things that open portals, actually, is being in an altered state of mind or an altered mindset. My ex-boyfriend is notorious for this. I did so many clearings on him. It's unbelievable. So he takes sleep medication. He takes medication for helping him go under. And then he also takes medication to help keep him under. So he takes 2 different sleep meds. And when I found out, get this right, he had 20 earthbounds in his house. And I was like, what? Where are all these earthbounds coming from? So get this, right? He takes the sleep medication. He goes on an out-of-body experience. He opens a portal while he's astral projecting, and then he invites all these earthbounds into his house. Like, oh, the door's open, guys. Come on in. And he invited them all in. And so, yeah, he was doing that in an altered state of mind through the prescriptions that he was taking. So each drug affects you differently. Some drugs may only affect your etheric field. Some drugs tend to kind of dampen your etheric field, make it smaller, or put perforations in it. That's the number one issue with drugs and alcohol, is the damage it does to your etheric. So your etheric is your bubble of protection. And if your bubble of protection is compromised for any reason, that's when the astral parasites get in. That's when you get sick, is when the astral parasites get in. You ever notice some people that never get sick? It's not just their immune system that's working well. It's their etheric. Their astral bubble of protection is blocking all kinds of parasites and funk from their etheric field, which lowers their vibration, which makes them sick. So if you keep all that shit out, then you don't have as many issues with those things. So this is one of the reasons why we say, like, even cigarettes, they will damage your etheric. Coffee damages your etheric. Pot also damages your etheric. It is what it is, though. Some psychedelics do the same thing. Yep. So not everything will damage your etheric, and you can repair it too. You can call in your spirit team and say, hey, spirit team, can you please mend my etheric? Can you please heal any perforations or holes in my etheric? Cannabis does not do the same damage that alcohol does, for the record. Not that I'm trying to defend my vice or anything, but when it comes to alcohol, your field, right? When you're using dowsing rods, you can actually see the distance that somebody's etheric field has, which is kind of between about 8 feet generally is what the average etheric field is all around you. And so the problem with alcohol is that it shrinks your etheric more and more and more as you get drunker. And then it seriously ungrounds you too, right? You see how people are tripping and falling all over themselves. They drop things, they get really clumsy. That's because of how rapidly alcohol ungrounds you. Okay. So people that get dizzy, they trip on their own feet, they're falling all over the place. That is 100% lack of grounding that causes that. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I don't really like alcohol and never have, is because alcohol immediately ungrounds me. I will have half of a drink and I will not lose any of my inhibitions. I will be able to make all the decisions, but I drop everything. I trip over my own feet. I fall on my face so many times. And I may be a giggly mess when this is happening, but it's entirely down to the fact that I'm ungrounded. And that's why some people can't handle alcohol for that reason, is because they are massively ungrounded when these things happen. Your astral body and your physical body disconnect and kind of disassociate in a way. So that's why, like, you think you're walking through a doorway without bumping into stuff, but you bump into everything. That's why, because your depth perception is completely off. But with cannabis, it does actually also affect your etheric field. It puts like pinholes in your etheric field. The soul guides told me it looks kind of like a colander. So it puts little pricks in your etheric field, and those will grow over time the more and more you use it. And cannabis can also unground you, which is why some people feel dizzy, why some people get the whitey. You never had a whitey, guys? It's when you take too much cannabis. It's like the only way you can overdose is having a whitey. It's like when you get really dizzy and you can't walk right and you end up throwing up or something, you get really nauseous. That's why you end up getting knocked. Pretty much that's the closest being knocked out of body as you can with cannabis. So I'm with you on that, David. It's the one vice I'm keeping. My guides, they know. They're like, you can take breaks, but we know she's not going to quit. No, I'm not. I've been smoking pretty much every day since I was 17. I have no intention of changing. But like I said, everything comes with a price. And I am starting to notice that I don't enjoy being ungrounded as much as I used to. So funnily enough is that I am no longer wake and bake. I don't bother wake and baking in the morning. I don't like feeling ungrounded the whole rest of the day. So now I tend to smoke in the evenings. So that way I have, like I said, don't have to deal with the ungrounding feeling while I'm out trying to do things or whatever. It does not help my ADD either. It makes me a little more distracted. Let's see. I'm just going through all these comments. I didn't realize I've been enjoying the conversation today so much. It's been an hour and 39 minutes. That's a long time to keep 100 of you distracted. So thank you for joining me today as we're talking about all these things. Maura says the holes make sense with cannabis. I keep saying, is that your thought or one that you picked up stoned? Well, keep in mind that telepathy, all humans have telepathy. Every single one of us are telepathic. It's just that we gaslight ourselves out of realizing that we are telepathic. And so for when it comes to, picking up thoughts, I think that our perception does increase with certain plants. Chen talked about this a few times. This is why I'm microdosing with mushies all the time. Because the perception does increase with certain plants. It does help, but everything in moderation. And you have to keep in mind that most of these plants are a medicine, right? So you have to use medicines wisely. Otherwise, medicines can be abused, right? Same thing with these plants. So I feel the same about weed. I have no control whatsoever. I just take one toke. It also highly dehydrates me, whereas alcohol I can control no problem. However, I really don't drink much at all anymore. See, we all have these things that we've been using for multiple incarnations. I don't think that I'm just reading, I'm laughing at Murray's comment. Your microphone is what I see with too much cannabis. I had one friend that ate a lolly once and she was high for 2 days. She was not enjoying it at all either. Some people just cannot handle it. So it's to each their own. Everybody likes what they like, and there's no judgment on that. It's the way you moderate what you like that defines it, just for the record. Because you can love anything. You can love cheeseburgers, and if you don't moderate your love of cheeseburgers, you're going to end up not healthy, right? Same thing. You can overdose on water, for fuck's sake. You can literally make yourself really unwell by drinking too much water. So it just goes to show, like, literally everything in the universe needs moderation. Just reading through. I only smoke when I have my day's work done. It makes me harder for the, yes, exactly. It makes you work harder for the treat. That is exactly what I'm doing. Same thing. Caffeine is another big one. A lot of people, we talk about drugs all the time. We don't realize caffeine is the most common drug on this planet. I think there's more people addicted to caffeine than there are cigarettes and anything else, probably combined. So watching my mom go through her caffeine addiction is why I don't have one. I've watched what she was like without her coffee in the morning, and I swore that would never be me. And that is why I'm a tea person. Sugar is also a drug, 100%. Sugar is also probably one of the most addictive things on the planet too. So, yep, just you have to realize, you have to take into account everything you put in your body. You don't realize why you do. Everything has a reason. And I'm with you, David. Every Sunday. Sunday is my wake and bake day, unless I'm teaching a class. Yeah, I do. I do keep one wake and bake day a week. I'm not going to lie. I'm the same way, David. That makes my day just very, very zen. But if I don't have anything to do for the day, otherwise it will not get done. I will make up a million excuses if I wake and bake. So anyway, I could sit here talking about weed all day long, but you guys have things to do, and so do I. So I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Like I said, make sure that you go and see Lauren Roche at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Make sure that Lauren gets the love he deserves from this community, because he's just, like I said, we are so blessed to have Lauren in our community. He's one of the best meditative experts you could go and learn from. And like I said, it's actually not boring the way Lauren teaches meditation. So give him a chance and make sure that you check it out. Hi, Star. Do you do neighborhood clearings? I asked because I live in San Diego. Yes, I do neighborhood clearings. We include the neighborhood with the property clearing. We check the general vicinity, a few blocks around you anyway. So if you book a property clearing and you note that there's something weird about your neighborhood, I will check it out. Make sure that you do this, by the way. One of my people listening the other day messaged me and said, there's something weird going on in my neighborhood. Can you check it out? And I found a super portal in his neighborhood. Okay. So just be aware that if you feel there's something wrong with your neighborhood, it might be a really good idea to check it out, because I've found 3 super portals now. Super portals are opened by CERN. Those massive portals. I mean, when I say massive, I mean it's bigger than a house, these portals, and they're up in the sky, and all kinds of stuff comes from them. So, yep. Make sure that if there's something you feel is not right about your neighborhood, I'm happy to take a look for you, because that neighborhood was flooded with entities, and they were those hybrids too, those level 2, level 3 hybrids. So yeah, make sure that you check it out. We've been chatting 144. Look at that. It's perfect. So I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.